welcome to Celebrities, the Gist HQ, the hottest spot for all the buzz, drama, and untold stories of your favorite stars. I'm Arthur, and trust me, you don't want to miss a second. Let's dive right into the gist.
Ever find yourself down a rabbit hole of something just utterly strange, but you can't look away?
Yeah. That's definitely where we're headed today.
We've got a really fascinating, maybe slightly bizarre collection of materials spread out here.
Indeed. We're diving into the peculiar case of the Aaron Ramsey curse. It's this, unique phenomenon that's held a kind of morbid fascination for football fans for years now.
Okay, so for anyone maybe new to this wonderfully weird story, let's just lay it out. The Aaron Ramsey curse. It's the superstition.
The basic idea is that when the Welsh midfielder Aaron Ramsey scores a goal,
a famous person dies relatively soon after.
Exactly. It sounds, pretty out there when you first hear it.
It really does.
But, a really uncanny string of coincidences has kept this belief alive. We've been looking at a forum discussion from 2016. It was on Arsenal Times, a big fan site.
Right.
And then two more recent news articles from 2025. One's from Sports Central, the other from Telegraphy.
And these newer ones, they're talking about it coming back. Now he's a manager.
That's the angle, yeah. Since he took over at Cardiff City. So our mission today, basically, is to trace this whole curse thing back. Look at the origins, some key examples.
The greatest hits, so to speak.
Sort of, yeah. The ones everyone talks about.
Yeah.
And then figure out why it's suddenly a topic again.
Okay, so let's rewind. Where did it start? What was the, patient zero moment for this curse?
Well, according to Telegraphy and also Sportscasting, the earliest one people usually point to is way back in 2008.
Okay.
Ramsey scored against Fenerbahce, and the next day, the actor David Lloyd Meredith passed away. Sad, but maybe not widely noticed then.
Right, maybe it's just a blip at that point?
Possibly. But the one that really blew it up, brought it into the mainstream, was Osama bin Laden's death, May 2011.
And Ramsey had just scored.
The day before, against Manchester United.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that would get people talking. A huge global event linked to a football match. That's memorable.
Definitely grabbed attention.
Yeah.
And from then on, the list of, supposed victims just kept growing.
Who else is on this list? I remember hearing some big names.
Oh, yeah. Really well-known people. Steve Jobs, Muammar Gaddafi, Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, really?
Yep. Paul Walker, the actor. Robin Williams.
Oh, man, Robin Williams, too. Yeah.
He goes on. David Bowie, Alan Rickman. They died very close together in 2016, right after Ramsey goals.
Yeah.
Even Nancy Reagan.
It's quite the collection of names. Very famous people.
It really is. And Sportscasting threw out a statistic, which is pretty eye-opening.
What was that?
They calculated around 27 celebrity deaths, followed roughly 34% of Ramsey's 79 career goals, up to the point they wrote the article.
34%. That feels like a lot. Even if it's coincidence, that number makes you pause.
It's a frequency that certainly makes you understand why the superstition stuck around.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful.
How so?
Well, think about how many famous people sadly pass away every single year, globally. You'd need some serious statistical analysis to say if it's more than just chance.
Right. Correlation versus causation. The classic trap.
Exactly. And the articles do mention Ramsey himself has always just brushed it off, called it ridiculous, just coincidence, unfortunate timing.
Which, logically is the most sensible take, isn't it?
Absolutely. But you know how it is. A good spooky story often travels faster than logic.
Too true. Which leads us nicely to that Arsenal Times forum discussion from 2016. You said it kicked off after Nancy Reagan died.
That's right. She passed away shortly after Ramsey scored against Spurs, their big rivals.
Ooh, against Spurs too. That adds another layer for the fans, I bet.
Definitely. So this user, Merlian96, started the thread. Seems like a regular on there. They basically just listed the coincidences up to that point, laid it all out.
And what was the vibe? Were people genuinely spooked, making jokes, arguing?
All of the above, pretty much nailed it. There was a lot of dark humor. Someone called Goofle just wrote, "What a hero."
Right.
Another user, Plonky, joked about wishing for a curse of Cazorla, another player where everyone would live forever instead.
Yeah.
So humor was definitely a coping mechanism.
Makes sense. Blasting it off because it's kind of unsettling. But not everyone found it funny, I assume.
No, definitely not. Plenty of pushback. User Indian Gooner was very blunt, just called it Biodolics.
Straight to the point.
Yep. And made the argument, look, loads of celebs died in January that year. If it was real, shouldn't Arsenal have been winning every game? Which, Fair enough.
Yeah, logical point.
Others, like Noach14, even sort of hijacked the thread to complain about Ramsey's actual football skills at the time, calling that the real curse.
So even in the middle of this weird curse talk, it still comes back to regular football moaning. That's almost comforting in a strange way.
It really is. Shows how these things get tangled up with everyday fan life, doesn't it?
Totally.
And interestingly, Merlion96, the original poster, even wondered if maybe knowing about the curse might subconsciously make Ramsey pass more. Avoid shooting himself.
That's an interesting psychological angle.
Yeah. And then you have the other extreme. Gunnersing1 ironically saying they hoped Ramsey stayed injured after a win just to be safe.
Wow, okay. That's dark.
And there was this one funny exchange where Merlion96, the OP, jokingly added a skeptical user to his Welsh Messi hit list.
A Welsh Messi hit list. Oh my goodness, that perfectly sums up the fan culture around it, doesn't it? The mix of genuine unease, banter, and just football weirdness.
Exactly. It's a perfect snapshot. Okay, so let's fast forward April 2025.
Right, this is where the story picks up again recently.
Ramsey gets appointed caretaker manager at Cardiff City, his old club. They're in a relegation scrap. Big job for him.
And then, just days later.
2 days later, Easter Monday, Pope Francis passes away.
Oh, wow. Okay, I can imagine the internet just
They
lit up.
Instantly. Both the Sports Central and Telegraphy articles go into this. Social media, especially Twitter, just exploded with people connecting the dots.
But hang on, he didn't score this time, did he? He was the manager.
Exactly. That's the big twist here. He wasn't playing, hadn't scored, but people immediately jumped on it.
So the curse evolved, or people think it has.
That seems to be the reaction, yeah. The pattern was always goal, then death. Now it's like the association with Ramsey in this new prominent role was enough.
What were people actually saying? Any examples?
Oh yeah, the articles quote tweets like, Aaron Ramsey didn't score this weekend, but he became a manager. The Pope died. Simple as that.
Just straight connection.
Yep. Another one, he got made a manager for the first time yesterday. The Aaron Ramsey curse is back. Here we go. And the Aaron Ramsey curse extends to managerial appointments.
So they're explicitly saying it's moved beyond scoring.
It seems that way for many fans online.
Right.
One more. Aaron Ramsey's first game as a manager, and the Pope dies. Even in management, he still has a curse.
It's incredible how adaptable these superstitions can be. The perceived power is now just attached to him, the person, not the specific act of scoring.
That certainly looks like the narrative that took hold immediately online. It's like, for them, this was just more proof the curse is real, just finding a new outlet. Really taps into that thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Apophenia. Seeing patterns where maybe there aren't any.
Yeah, our brains trying to make sense of chaos, find connections, even spooky ones.
From goals to the gaffer's office. It shows how these things can really morph.
It really does. But again, as the articles stress,
It's still coincidence. There's no actual demonstrable link between Aaron Ramsey taking a job and, world events like the Pope's passing.
right. So bringing this fascinating, slightly strange deep dive towards a close, we've looked at the Aaron Ramsey curse, haven't we? From those first few linked deaths.
Through that lively fan debate in 2016.
And right up to this very recent twist, this potential shift with his move into management.
And it's crucial, as we've said, to remember all our sources frame this as superstition, coincidence, things that have captured people's imagination. Ramsey himself thinks it's nonsense.
Yeah, just bad luck or timing.
Exactly.
Which does leave us, and you listening, with a pretty interesting thought, doesn't it? Seeing how quickly the narrative shifted, oh, he's manager now, the curse still works.
Yeah.
Is this genuinely a new phase for this weird phenomenon?
Or is it just a really clear example of how readily we see patterns, how we connect dots, maybe, that aren't really connected, just because our minds want to find meaning in random events?
How easy is it to convince ourselves of these links? It's something to chew on.
For sure. And this whole story, it really shows how football fandom isn't just about the 90 minutes, is it? It pulls in wider culture, news, and yeah, even superstition.
Absolutely. And look, if you're curious, you can easily find the full list of celebrities linked to the curse online. It's quite something. Maybe think about other sports superstitions too.
Yeah, Ramsey's is maybe the most famous recently, but it's definitely not the only example of sports and strange beliefs colliding. It's a very human thing, looking for patterns, even in tragedy linked to something like a football score.
A fascinating, if slightly morbid, slice of football folklore.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Celebrities, the Gist HQ. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and come back for more juicy stories. Until next time, keep living the gist life.